Hi there, my name's Jason Perkins, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode in my Georgia Workers' Compensation video series. I'm an attorney that specializes in Georgia workers' compensation cases, and in this series I provide you with helpful information about the rules of Georgia's workers' compensation law and the benefits available to you under that law. Today I want to talk to you about how workers' compensation calculates your average weekly wage. But before we jump into that, be sure and be on the lookout for an upcoming episode in the Georgia Workers' Compensation video series about a new form called the WC-PMT that will hopefully help you get approval for your medical treatment if it's being delayed or denied by the insurance company. Now, let's talk about average weekly wage. Average weekly wage is what the insurance company uses to determine the weekly benefits that they pay you in your workers' compensation case. Those weekly benefits might be temporary total disability, temporary partial disability, or permanent partial disability. Temporary total and temporary partial pay you for lost wages. Permanent partial pays you for permanent impairment. But the amount of all of these benefits is determined by your average weekly wage. Insurance companies generally calculate your average weekly wage by looking at the average amount of money you made in the 13 weeks before you were hurt. So if you were salaried and you made the same amount each week, your average weekly wage is easy to determine. However, many people are not salaried and their amount varies each week based on the hours that they work. And if your case is like that, then you would look at those 13 weeks before your injury at your earnings, and that would be how the insurance company would determine what your average weekly wage is. They would take an average of those 13 weeks, and your earnings would include what you made as far as your salary, bonuses, tips, basically any earnings that you were paid as a result of doing work for your employer. It could also in some situations include work that you did for another employer if that work was similar to the job at which you were injured. And that's kind of a conversation for another video, but it's something to be aware of. So the insurance company is going to calculate that average weekly wage based on that. If you didn't work for your employer for 13 weeks beforehand, or you missed a significant amount of time in that 13 weeks, they may look at using what's called a similar employee, or they may also use what's called your full-time weekly wage to determine your average weekly wage. Your average weekly wage is going to determine the amount of your weekly workers' compensation check when it comes to temporary total and temporary partial disability. And in permanent and temporary partial disability cases, it's going to determine what you draw in that amount of that benefit by comparing your average weekly wage from before your injury to what you're able to make after your injury. I've discussed that in other videos in this series, so I won't go into detail here now. Hope you found this information about how your average weekly wage is calculated helpful. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and schedule a free consultation. You can do that at our website, www.perkinslawtalk.com, or by calling the phone number at the bottom of the screen. If you want additional information, you can also find that on our Perkins Studdard Workers' Compensation YouTube channel, where you can view all of the videos from the Georgia Workers' Compensation video series, or by visiting our website and reading the workers' compensation articles that I've written there on our blog. Thanks for watching today, and I wish you the best of luck as you recover from your injury.